Okay, little chicken boos. I got a request for a plate demo. Going for you guys today. So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need your bat, your plastic or masonite bat, and your bat pins on your wheel for this. And you want to make sure that it's nice and tight. If it's not tight, if it's giving you troubles, you can take a little paper towel or even a little piece of plastic, like some of your thin plastic, wet it and put it over the bat pins like this, and then squish your bat on top, just nice and thin, and that's just enough to fill in the gaps in these bat pins. That's a really good tip, hot tip, okay? All right, so for a plate, you're actually gonna need slightly more clay than you're expecting. So for a smaller plate, you're gonna need probably like a 4 pound, 3.5, 4 pound ball, because you're gonna need a thick base. So I would also suggest when you're starting something new and learning something new, start with, start small. So you don't need to throw a giant dinner plate. Maybe we're gonna start with kind of like a little salad plate. A smaller plate, some centering. So reaching across, I'm gonna kind of pull the clay inward, and I'm supporting with my left hand, just nice and slow. The wheel's moving, medium to fast, but my hands are always moving slowly. So pulling it in is easier than pushing away. In the future. So now I'm going to push down. I can put my thumb on top in my hand or my fist, but just keeping it round, and I'm going to lean it a little bit away from me and down. Going slowly. If it gets sticky, add a little water. When you're centering, you're also already thinking about what you're going to make. So if you want to make something that's tall, you might center your clay very tall. If you want to make something that's low and wide, like a plate, you're going to center your clay very low and wide. So we're going to compress it down. And also, as I'm pushing down, I'm kind of catching with my palm, the little booty part of my palm here, that's letting it get wider and more even, nice and slow. Kind of roll it over with your fingertip there. So compressing it. So, however wide you center your clay, this is going to be the widest part of the foot. So if I wanted to make it a wider plate, I would keep centering it wider. So I'm going to start by kind of creating a depression right in the center there with my fingers, and see, I'm kind of leading with my middle finger. I'm using my thumb to kind of help support it and keep it still as I kind of open the center like that. If it gets sticky, just add a little water. Going down. Okay, I'm going to measure with my needle tool. I'm shooting for something about a finger thickness in that area. Okay, so I'm going to open this, and I'm going to use, you can go like this and put all of your fingers in there and kind of slowly kind of sweep, pull towards you. You can mainly draw with your dominant hand and kind of support with your thumb. You can also do another method where you kind of stick your knuckle and your fist in the hole and kind of pull and drag it out. So let's try a couple of different ways. One, I'm going to start to kind of slowly open with my fingers like this. Going nice and slow. See? So use your fingers, use some water, start to kind of drag it open. Okay, another way is with all your fingers, kind of like pulling towards you. Like this. I don't know, I feel a little wackadoo on that way. And then another method is kind of like using your fist to support your hand and your fist and pull slowly clay outward. So that ways. But I'm trying to maintain a flat interior with my finger, my fist. Sound good? All right. We're gonna compress the middle, and to do that, you're gonna want to use a rib with a flat edge. So this one's really nice. And flat things tend to want to crack, but by compressing with the rib is going to help prevent that. Okay, looking good. All right, now we're going to do this rim, which is really fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a pinching position with my fingers. I'm going to put my thumb underneath and my fingers on top. Sometimes I like to use my sponge to kind of help support my thumb as I kind of jam it underneath there. And we're just going to pinch the clay together and kind of like an upward, almost like you're throwing a little cylinder. We're gonna lay it over. And so what I'm doing with my fingers is I'm gonna support it underneath of my thumb and kind of fold it over. So it looks like this. So gently holding on, folding it over. Keeping it slightly up. Now here's where what can happen is if your plate is really wet, you're using lots and lots of water, it'll just flop and fall over. So it just takes a little practice of getting it how you want. And then use your rib, these different great curves, to scrape off the wet clay and give it some shape. Done with this yet, but before I cut this off, there's a lot. This is like a giant suction cup underneath here, so I'm going to use my wood knife. I'm going to hold it upside down and I'm going to just put a little undercut, so take that clay away, an undercut underneath here like this. It's going to make like a nice place for your wire tool to slide underneath. You don't have to do this, but I just thought it might be kind of fun because I haven't tried it in a while. But I'm gonna try to do kind of like a cut rim. I'll take my wire tool nice and tight, comfortable here, and then I'm gonna get it going kind of slow with my rim. And I'm just gonna bring this in. Yeah, whatever. You don't have to do quite so much, but I just wanted to show you. You know, you could take some slip or underglaze, spin it and decorate if you wanted. But now that we're finished, what we're gonna do is take your wire tool, hold it wider than the actual plate. So that's important. Measure the plate with the wire tool so you're nice and wide of it. Take your wire and make sure that you get it well in that nice little notch we made and hold it tight to the wheel head so it doesn't. So this might take, I don't know, about 24 hours or give or take for it to dry, because I'm gonna trim this plate that I threw. So it should be dry enough that it literally will just pop off. It should be stiff enough to set on your wheel head and be able to hold its shape. To hold your finger to the side of this plate and feel it kind of tap and bump your finger. So it's going bump, 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 bump. I don't know if you can see that. So what you can do is on the bump, boop, bump, gently, give it a tiny little push. If you're a fancy kind of guy or gal, you can do a little tap every time that bump comes around. Tool, and I just want to get this thing flat. I'm going to start with this outer bit. I'm going to take this down considerably. So by pushing straight down and making a narrower foot, it stands out. Then I'm going to draw a circle for the middle. And trimming the bottom of your plate is really important because it helps with the compression of the plate. So it actually prevents cracking when you trim. And then I'm going to just kind of compress a little with my finger. I like to use the little square a lot when I'm trimming, just to get like kind of crisper. I use the edge of it a lot. Okay, and then when you're done, grab a pencil or wood knife and sign it with your plates, because you don't want to split the rims and things like that. But now it's got a nice little foot, and I can take my sponge and smooth over this sharp edge that I cut.